I'm gonna tell you a story, but the first thing I have to say this time doesn't work the way you think it does. You can call me Oracle, I'm the one talking to you. Welcome to the cult. And we're moving right back on with Changeling the Lost, and we're moving on to Mantles. Mantles represent a mystical connection between the Fae and the elements and emotions that a particular court embodies. The higher a Changeling mantle rating, the more he has come to embody that court's ideals. And in this context, we're talking about the four seasonal courts. From a descriptive perspective, as a character's mantle rises, his Fey mane reflects that ascendance, displaying both literal and figurative signs of the season around the character. These trappings are not visible to mortals and have no real game effect, but should be used to enhance a character's description and convey a sense of how rooted in the cult she has become. Character may learn clauses from the relevant contract path of his court, which generally require certain amount of mantle to learn, though he must still meet any other prerequisites as well. Should his mantle fall, or he adopt the mantle of the new court, he might no longer meet the prerequisites for some of his old contracts. In that case, he must spend additional glamour to activate those contracts. Each court has certain mechanical and descriptive benefits of all its members, developing a mantle rating. In addition to those benefits, each court has a benefit reserved for its leader, advantage most commonly referred to as its crown, caritra. A crown can only manifest in a freehold where there are at least a handful of members of a particular court and able to choose a common leader, and generally manifests only during the appropriate physical season. As we can observe in the freehold of Miami, a crown will occasionally manifest during the off-season of a court is especially prominent or powerful in the area, as the head reflects the court's potency, or a changeling who is elected leader of the freehold might manifest his crown out of season if he is sufficiently popular. Note that the leader of a court is not always the member with the highest mantle rating, often referred to as the king or queen of its respective season. So, like the king or queen of a respective season is the one with the highest mantle rating, it isn't necessarily the one that's actually the leader chosen by the freehold. And contracts. The contract is a mystical pact struck between the Fae and a living embodiment of a natural force, allowing the Fae to call upon supernatural powers. Fae do contracts. Not actually that big of a surprise. Contracts are an ancient agreement made between the true Fae and a living embodiment of the natural world. As with most such magics like the Mask, these bargains extend to all creatures touched by Fairy and thus may be learned and used by changelings. Each contract is a collection of related powers or clauses which were agreed upon in the same bargain. Usually changing must use glamour to empower the most used clauses, but every clause has a catch, a loophole in the original agreement, which allows the power with the magical price having to be paid. So, like magical contract law. Here are the universal contracts. As for the first edition, Changeling has affinity for a number of common contracts, which may find easier to learn than others. Any Changeling can learn these contracts without any added difficulty. Blades for non-iron blades, Lord for alter games, Dream for oneromancy, Hearth for blessings and curses, Hours for time, Lucidity to elude delirium, Mirror for disguise, Moon for madness, Omen for see past and future, Smoke for stealth, and Thorns and brambles for hedges and thorns. And oh, by the way, the brambles and the thistle. Anyway, seeming contracts. Ones that are particular for each seeming. I'm not really getting into those. All right, court contract. Changelings who belong to a seasonal court have an affinity to further two contracts associated with their season. The fleeting contracts deal with manipulation of the court's dominant emotion, while the eternal contracts evoke physical manifestation of the season itself. Due to the mystical connection granted by a court's mantle, the more advanced clauses of the contract may only be learned by changeling with a strong mantle for the appropriate court. Less powerful clauses may be taught out to other changelings, but such tutelage is generally only given to those who have proven their friendship to court. Eternal Autumn, Harvest and Withering, Fleeting Autumn, Manipulate Fear, Eternal Spring, Growth and Rejuvenation, Fleeting Spring, Manipulate Desire, Eternal Summer, Heat and Light, Fleeting Summer, Manipulate Wrath, and Eternal Winter, Cold, Fleeting Winter, Manipulate Sorrow. Then there is also 4 directions to manipulate direction, or to influence direction, or work with it, I guess. Verdant Spring to manipulate passion, Punishing Summer for tools of war, Spellbound Autumn for sorcery, and Sorrow Frozen Hearth for personal sorrow, that's winter. And then the potential contract for positive change in the Dawn Court, and Entropy for negative change in the Dusk Court. Then there are goblin contracts. These are pretty cool. Finally, there are the goblin contracts, black market contracts that can be obtained from the goblin market in exchange for various things. While these contracts are powerful, they usually come with a huge penalty for using them and cannot be relied on as much as the other types. Side of truth of lies for truth saying, shooter's bargain for accurate shooting, trading luck for fate, predict random events, calling the guardian, and those are the 3 level 1 ones. Level 2s are calling guardian for some protective force, diviner's madness for see past or future, fair entrance to open doors, fool's gold to disguise object. Level 3s are blessing of forgetfulness to erase memories, burden of life for healing, delayed harm to avoid attacks, and hostility toll for mark hostility violators. Like, repeatedly uninvited Fae that refuse to leave. Because they want to say that I'm a hospitality violator for not just giving what they want for showing up, for example. Rude Fae. Unkind ones, for example. Anyway. Good and bad luck. Oh, level 4, good and bad luck for lucky guess. Call the hunt for summon true Fae. Level 5, blood binding for strip enemy defenses, lost and found for escape, and contracts of weird for weird powers. That level 1 through 5, as well as goblin contracts of sacrifice, goblin fortune for blessing or curse, goblin transformation for changes, and goblin sacrifice for sacrifice in exchange for benefits. And to the weird contract. The contract of weird is a goblin contract among the lost that is universally accessible for changelings of all seemings. And you know what? I'm actually going to get into that in a separate episode. Because I'm probably, I've actually probably, even by accident, gone through and done a couple of the contracts with weird. Just, it's a thing. Anyway, I'll do those in a separate episode. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe.